It is common for people with long COVID to have difficulties with the quantity and quality of the sleep that they get. Studies show that somewhere between 21 and 53% of those with long COVID complain of sleep disorders or insomnia. The impact of poor sleep is far-reaching, and most people with long COVID say that it worsens all their other symptoms, particularly brain fog and fatigue. The way we sleep is a habit. Most people have a routine and a way of getting to sleep. But when we are unwell with an infection, we generally need to sleep and rest more. This is an important physiological response which improves the ability of the immune system to fight infection. The restorative process of sleep is also essential during the recovery period and assists with healing. Usually, after a few weeks or months, the amount of sleep needed starts to go back to normal. However, for people with long COVID, these changes lead to poor quality sleep. People often lose their normal sleep pattern and find their sleep is interrupted and fragmented. This affects the ability of the brain to go through different phases of the sleep, known as sleep cycles. Normally, each sleep cycle lasts about 90 minutes and includes increasing amounts of deep sleep as the night goes on. When your sleep is interrupted and fragmented, you have much less of the restorative deep sleep that is so important for learning, memory, and mood. Let's take a few minutes to understand the processes that control sleep in order to improve it. There are two mechanisms which control sleep: sleep pressure and the body clock. Sleep pressure simply means that after waking, sleep pressure builds during the day, increasing the need to sleep. In the morning, daylight wakes up our body clock and keeps us alert until sunset. Dusk triggers melatonin release, which together with sleep pressure makes us sleepy. Along with physiological processes, there are routines and rituals that we associate with sleep pressure, such as having a milky drink or reading before going to sleep. Good sleep habits are related to the principles of sleep pressure, the body clock, and the sleep cycles. Here are some examples of routines that are related to sleep pressure. Work out how much you are sleeping during the day and night. Most adults sleep between 6 and 9 hours within a 24-hour cycle. Some people are short sleepers and some are longer. The average is 7 to 8 hours for adults, and in general, you need less sleep as you get older. Work out your ideal length of nighttime sleep. If you wake up in the night and can't get back to sleep within 20 minutes, then leave the bedroom and do something dull. You should only go back to bed when you feel sleepy. This typically takes 45 minutes with the next circadian dip in alertness. It is important that you associate your bed with feeling sleepy, rather than awake and possibly anxious. Going outside into the sun in the morning stimulates your brain to produce melatonin that will make you sleepy at night. Identify the best bedtime for you to get the amount of sleep that you are aiming for. Are you the sort of person who gets up early and goes to bed early, or one who prefers to stay up late and get up late? There is no point trying to force something that doesn't fit your normal rhythms. Even if you've had a bad night, resist the urge to stay in bed to catch up. This further disrupts the body clock. Shortening your sleep time may well make you feel worse the following day, but will give you better sleep on the following nights. Think about how long you sleep for during the day. Sometimes naps are essential to get through the day so that you have enough energy to make it through the evening. However, any longer than 20 minutes will result in you entering the deeper phase of sleep. This will reduce your sleep pressure and make it more likely that your nighttime sleep will be lighter and with frequent wakening. It is more difficult to sleep if your body is working to manage the impact of what is happening in your bedroom. Think about your temperature. How warm is your room? How are your bedclothes and nightwear affecting how warm or cold you are? You may find that you need to wear bed socks but have the window open to be comfortable. Many experts say that the bedroom's ideal temperature is 16 to 18 degrees centigrade, although this is really a matter of personal preference. Light levels are important to help us to get better sleep. Dusk causes the brain to release melatonin, so thick curtains, blackout blinds and eye masks can all help. However, devices such as mobile phones or bedroom clocks produce light. Cover them up or turn them off. Consider switching off some of your lights a few hours before bed. What noise level is the best for a good night's sleep? It is a personal thing. You may find earplugs helpful to block out unwanted noise. Some people with tinnitus find it more noticeable and bothersome in a quiet environment, so use quiet background noise to make it less intrusive. Think about your environment. Sleep is a habit, and the brain makes a link between feeling tired and the environment. It's important that your brain associates being in your bedroom with sleep. Using the bedroom for other activities, such as watching TV and playing games, may make it more difficult for you to sleep. Caffeine is a stimulant which makes it harder for you to go to sleep, so try to avoid coffee, tea or fizzy drinks containing caffeine and sugar in the 4 hours before bed, or even longer if you can. People who really struggle to get to sleep should take their last caffeine at lunchtime. Alcohol is a diuretic and makes you need to pass urine. It is high in calories that the body has to work to burn off, and it impairs sleep quality, meaning that you don't get the deep restorative sleep you need. Try to limit your alcohol intake to the recommended daily allowances, or less if you can. Try to have 2 or more alcohol-free days a week, and if you do drink, avoid alcohol in the 2 hours before bed. Nicotine in cigarettes and vaping devices is also a stimulant and raises your heart rate and blood pressure. Consider giving up altogether. If you are going to smoke, then don't smoke in the 2 hours before bedtime. Eating late in the evening will raise our body temperature as our stomachs get to work on digesting and absorbing food. Leave at least 2 hours before eating and bedtime. Phones, tablets and television screens all expose us to blue light, which our body perceives as daylight and therefore a time for wakefulness. It can also be difficult for your brain to switch off from exciting TV programs or video games. So avoid screens for at least an hour before bedtime. During the hour before you go to bed, you should be preparing your body and mind to relax and fall asleep. Good wind-down activities include listening to podcasts, having a bath, listening to music, breathwork and meditation. Find something that works for you. Some people have very vivid or bad dreams following COVID-19. For some, the fear associated with the acute illness can lead to people being afraid to go to sleep. This will be more likely for people who experienced nighttime breathlessness or who've had a distressing experience in hospital. If you have low mood or are anxious, then you may find the same thoughts are going around and around in your mind, and it can be very difficult to switch off and go to sleep or back to sleep. The most common unhelpful thought is worrying about not sleeping. Putting pressure on yourself to get a good night's sleep can be counterproductive and be a vicious circle that is hard to get out of. If this is the case, then CBTI, known as CBT for insomnia, can be particularly helpful. This may be accessed through your local NHS psychological therapy service or the Sleep Station programme. People registered to the Long COVID Clinic in Hampshire and the Isle of Wight are invited to join the Living With app. The app has resources to help you with getting to sleep or getting back to sleep if that is difficult for you. Some people find that having a notebook by their bedside is helpful to write down their worries. It gives permission to go to sleep and deal with the problem the next day. However, sometimes there are worries in life that don't have a practical solution, and we have to live with uncertainty. Talking therapies such as cognitive behavioural therapy and counselling can help you learn strategies which enable you to live with uncertainty without it becoming overwhelming. Sleeping tablets are sometimes prescribed to help people get through a short-term issue with sleeping. However, while they help you get to sleep, they wear off and you can find yourself awake in the night anyway. You can also build a tolerance to sleeping tablets and need higher doses. They can be useful alongside a wind-down routine that incorporates relaxation. That way, when the medication's reduced or stopped, you will still have the association of relaxation as your body's trigger to sleep. Sleep difficulties following COVID are common and they make other symptoms more troublesome. Try to get into a routine with regular rising and retiring times and avoid overstimulation in the 2 hours before bed. Find a bedtime routine that works for you and stick with it.